Hey guys, welcome back to the Whimsical Workshop. As you can see, I am not set up for quilting. Yay! A few weeks ago, I did a video all about my Christmas present, which was the art tin from Stuart Simple. This will just remind you from the thumbnail. And it had stickers and all kinds of art supplies and things to decorate. But it came with some very, very cool paints and some other things like glitter. And I wanted to see what I could do with them. So I did do a thumbnail, and it's not the greatest thumbnail because, of course, these are acrylic powders and not acrylic paint, and I've never used acrylic powders. So I started working with this a little before I started filming just to kind of get an idea of how they work. And these are the examples of the things I did that didn't quite work out. So I want to kind of go through, now that I've watched the videos on this stuff, how these different products work and what we're going to do with them. So just to recap, we have pink, the pinkest pink, the reddest red, which actually I think is more like a fluorescent orange. We have diamond dust, which since my last video, I found out this is actually glass. It's little shards of glass. I did do a little bit right there. You can see it reflect. But you don't want to put this on anything you're going to run your hands on. It's more for a piece of artwork that you're going to hang on the wall. This is snow. This is the glitteriest glitter. And then they gave us stick, which you can then apply to stick stuff to. We have the blackest black, and we had black gold metallic and super base. So I started with some things I picked up at Michael's. One was this big cute daisy. This is the pinkest pink. This is like 3 coats. This is 1 coat of the red, which again comes out orange. And then I started doing these little letters. These came out the best, the reddest red. But I need to like finish the edges and decide what I'm going to do with them. These pink ones, this wood letters came with like a finish on them, so they're okay. And then they gave us like a Christmas ornament that I may try to decorate. But I thought what we would do today is go through, I was going to draw a picture, mix up some colors, and try them out on the canvas for you guys to see. And if you know anything about me, you know I love daisies. So we're going to do daisies. Because 1, I can draw them fairly easily, and 2, I think the colors will work with it. So we're just going to use the stuff they gave us, and let's see what we end up with. And I am not trying to be very artistic here. I just want to give us something to paint. Like I said before, sometimes it's fun just to play with other mediums other than quilting materials, because I always learn something. And then I always notoriously drag it back into the quilting world. And these are obviously acrylic paints, so you can use these acrylic paints on fabrics if you want to. You're certainly not going to use them on it. I wouldn't use them on a quilt that I'm going to use and love, but a wall hanging quilt I would. All right, so we've drawn out some daisies. They're okay. And I'm going to throw in, I'll probably regret this later, I'm going to throw in some polka dots. Because, you know, the only thing I love more than daisies is polka dots. So, to mix these, I've now learned to use the super base. You could also use acrylic medium, which I've got right here. And the super base, it came with everything, so we're going to use that today. I did find when I used the acrylic medium, the colors were a little more vibrant, but that could just be me and my imagination. So I'm going to mix up 2 piles here. One of the pink, which here it is. This is what it was. It's like this powdery, scoopy, just powder. You could mix this also with linseed oil and make it oil paints if you're into that kind of thing. I actually have a fear of oil paints. I've never done anything with them. Again, they take forever to dry, and you really have to have an idea of how to work with those. I'm an acrylics and markers kind of girl. I'm definitely a fabric girl. So you kind of, if you've ever made pasta, which I have never done, but watched lots of videos of people doing it, you sort of just do 1 part liquid and 1 part pigment powder. You can add more pigment and make it even thicker. Or I can just, right now there's 1:1. This is pretty thick. I could actually water it down if I want to. So that's the Pinkest pink. Now my understanding is that my camera cannot pick up for you guys just how pink that is. So let's start painting my daisy. And that's like, the other thing I found is a soft brush works so much better for this than a stiff brush. So let's see how this looks. I do know I did take painting in college. It's been years since I've done it, but I do know that you do want to kind of keep your strokes going in the same direction unless you're using them, you know, if that's part of the aesthetic you're going for. But so far, I do know we need to do 2 coats. I learned that on all of that. But it's, again, really fun to play with different art supplies, to use in other ways. It also kind of expands what I can do, because when I design an applique quilt for you guys, I always have to think about how it's going to get cut up into fabric pieces. So there's no shading, there's no, you know, tiny details, because again, with applique, you need bigger, chunkier pieces to really have it work. So when I do a painting, which I haven't done in years, but when I do know that I can do more than I do with fabric. So I can play with it. I've thought about taking some of my applique shapes and just doing them as paintings. I'd love to know your thoughts on that below. But you can see it's just fun to play with the stuff. So years past, I would have gotten this gift and it would have sat on a shelf and I would have been too afraid to crack into it and use it. I don't know about you guys, but I hoard things. I'm sure you do that with fabric. But this year, my goal is to start using this stuff. I'm not that old, but I'm turning 50, and I realized that it's like, I need to use these. What am I saving them for? You know, we've had our rainy day this past year, and I still didn't use a lot of this stuff. So let's get it out, play with it, see what happens, see how it inspires us, what it gets us doing. So there's the pink daisy. So the next color we're going to mix up here, I'm going to grab some paper towels, is going to be the red. The reddest red. And you like my, I have a painter's palette somewhere, but I couldn't find it. So paper plate works just fine. Alright, so there is my reddest red. Stuart Semple Art Supplies. He is an artist in England, and he does his own art, and then he creates pigments and colors and supplies and funky finishes and stuff. So it's kind of cool. He has a YouTube channel. It's called Culture Hustle. He has his own channel, or his own website, Culture Hustle USA. But I got this as a Christmas gift because Matthew saw it and was like, well, my wife loves art supplies, so why not give her a surprise box? So, and this is, when it's coming out like this, I don't think I have enough powder to make it really opaque, but it looks very watercolory. And that's the other thing with these pigments. I could just mix them with water and use them on watercolor paper. So the whole thing with the pigments is you can decide, do you want acrylic? Do you want watercolor? Do you want oil? I suppose I could break out some watercolor paper and try that, but let's do what I know, which is acrylic. All right, so there is the reddest red. We'll come back and do a coat of that. I really, really love this pink. I mean, it is pink. I've never seen a pink quite this pink. I mean, you'd want to say fluorescent like the 80s, but it's not. It's not that fluorescent. It's just pink. Okay, so we're going to let those dry. This first coat is over here is dry, so we're going to go back in and add some. I used to do a lot of painting back in the early 2000s. I designed fabric for several different fabric companies, and I hand painted all of my art for the fabric, and then they put it into repeat and used it. Um, and then everyone was like, oh, you should do digital art, get on an iPad or get on your computer. And I did one line that way. And sadly, that was my last line in 2009. It was called Excellent Adventures, and we still actually have some on the website because I never got around to marketing it. And I stopped doing fabric because I didn't find that technique, that way of doing it, very inspiring. So I'm hoping that by messing with all these paints and all these mediums and sketching, I kind of get the groove back for designing fabric again. And I will probably hand paint it again. I'm much more skilled at the computer as well, so you can hand paint things, bring it in, and then create the actual print in the computer. But I have not done a line like that yet. So I would say in the realm of acrylics, these are nice acrylics, but they are not, I'm not used to mixing them myself. And I much prefer squirting them out of a tube. So these are not my, definitely not my cup of tea, having now painted a couple of flowers and painted this stuff over here. It's just, it's too finicky. Like, I just don't think there's enough, you can see how streaky that looks. So I don't think it has enough pigment. Ooh, now we have more than enough pigment powder. So I need one of those little tiny spice spoons to like spoon this stuff out. And it's expensive, so you really don't want to waste it. So let's see what happens if I mix more pigment. Ugh. Too much powder. I had watched a couple videos on how to use this powder paint after we did it last night, and basically they said what we were already doing, so there's no secret. It's just knowing how much pigment to put with the base, and I am not there. There we go. That feels more like an acrylic paint, and that's why the powders are just not super friendly for me, because I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Alright, so let's move on while we are waiting for those to dry. I want to try the black. It's black. Now my understanding is we need several coats of this for it to be, but it is, what it does is it absorbs the light. So there's no shine, there's no glimmer, it's just flat black, which you can maybe see just how flat black that is there. See how black it like this has a shine to it and this one doesn't. So that's the Blackest black. And we're going to use that to do polka dots. It's hard to believe I used to have to do this for a class every day when I was in college. I did a lot of painting back then, but you know, 30 years later, it's like I forgot most of what they probably taught me. Now, I don't have any other colors. So I was trying to use what I got in my little container. I'm not sure what I'm going to do in the centers yet. Maybe, let's think here. Because I have this black gold to still use, but that would be a heavy center. So, now you can see where it's laying down like a good acrylic. And I'm going to go around and give it a nice little edge. Alright, so that looks better. So then what I think I'm going to do, let's try this, is I'm just going to do this like a wash, so it's very, very light. And I'm just taking my paintbrush and swirling it. Don't know if this is a technique or just, you know, not. But let's try it. So there's that, and then I'm going to steal a little of the pink and kind of swirl that in. Just to give it some different, yeah, kind of looks like a, I mean, it's just acrylic, but it looks like it's a little bit of a wash. I don't mind that. I hope you guys like that. Alright, so here's a little water in here. This is just a wet brush. And I'm picking it up. Don't know what I'm doing, but it's working, so we'll go with that. Act like you know what you're doing and people will believe it. There we go. Look at that. Oh, that's pretty. I like that. That's kind of a cool technique. Alright, so let's do this over here again. Let's try it. Yeah, that looks pretty. Alright, now my petals look too flat, so I don't know what we're going to do with those. So I think we're going to take, we have black gold still to use. This is super pretty. I've already poured this out a little bit. And we don't need a lot. I love these little bottles they come in. Alright, so this, I think what we're going to do is go over my pencil lines with it. Okay. Then we're going to take a little bit of water. Again, I don't know if this is going to work or not. I'm just going to pull it out a little and use it like a shadow. That didn't work terribly. I'm going to go over it again with some color, but now it should have some shadow. It's like I vaguely remember learning stuff in college. I'm trying to remember it. Because right now this looks kind of muddy to me. Okay, stop working the pink. How about we move our water over closer to me? I think that's starting to look alright. We're going to let that dry, and then we're going to come over here and do the same idea. You know, when I was younger, I always liked everything flat. You know, and now as I'm getting older, I realize I really like things to have some tone and some shadow and, you know, some depth to it. And I think it's just a style thing, but I also think it's from doing applique quilts for 20 plus years, and that's really what you get is flat. You don't get depth and definition. Alright, so all in all, I think that one came out the best. And we're going to come back in here. I'm going to use a different brush with some water, and I'm going to kind of create a washy look. Let's see. You'll have to let me know in the comments below if you actually enjoy this kind of a video. Alright, so now I'm doing like a kind of a pinkish wash, knock down that gray that I want it there, but I don't want it quite so prominent. So overall, I love the way the centers came out. These are just, I don't know. That's my one mentor growing up. Well, I shouldn't say growing up. She gave me my first job out of college, Mary Quartermeyer. She always told me that if I didn't like something, it just wasn't done yet. That I should never give anything up. I mean, sometimes I do. You know, you don't always listen to the people who tell you these things. But for the most part, she's right. If you don't like something, especially, you know, if you put a lot of time in it, you need to step away, come back, revisit it, and just keep working it. Change it up. Maybe, like if it's a quilt, maybe, you know, look at a different layout or setting, or change out one fabric. For painting, you should probably just let it dry and stop messing with it the way I'm messing with this one. But you know, you kind of get into this and you're like, I'm in for a penny, I'm in for a pound. Alright, so there's that one. Yeah, it's alright. My polka dots are a little weird, but this was not planned. I did not plan this. Now my oranges, my red, whatever color this is, my magic color is starting to dry out a little here, so let's water it up. I do have to say I love this black. This black is black. It's flat, it doesn't reflect the color, and it just lays right down. I really do like it on canvas. We were working on some other stuff, a plastic thing and some other things with it, and it's you need to prime those pieces first. With the canvas, I can just paint it on. Now, I don't really like those polka dots, so I think what I'm going to do is paint the whole thing black. So I will have, that will be my outline for my flowers. So that's where we're going. Okay, so there is my little daisies all painted using the Pinkest pink, the reddest red, using some of the black gold that they sent, and then the black 3.0, which is super flat. It almost looks like velvet on camera, but it is just a very, very flat black. I do need to go in here a little bit. But the other things they sent us was stick, snow, and diamond dust. So this little guy is going to get the next round of that. So the next thing to do is we're going to apply some stick and some snow to this. The diamond dust we did here, I did an example of it. It's very, very pretty, but it is glass, shards of glass, and seeing how I'm not sure where this is going or who it's going to go to, I think I'm going to stick with the snow glitter on this and not mess with this. That way, if a little kid is around, they don't touch it and get the glass. And I think what I'll do is I'm going to do the centers of the flowers. So how you use the stick is from the video I watched. Is you're going to use a paintbrush and dip it in. And you don't need a lot of this according to the video, but I'm going to put it in the center of the flower and then you let it dry for 15 minutes and then we're going to apply our snow. Now my understanding is this will never be unsticky once it dries, so you will have to coat it with something. You can coat it with pigments, glitters, sand, you know, anything you want. So we're going to go ahead and finish covering these and then I'm going to let it dry and then we'll be back to show you how to put the snow glitter on. Again, I'm learning as we go here, so I sound like I know what I'm doing, but I really just learned it all on YouTube. Okay. Okay, so we are back. It has been 15 minutes and then some. So to do this, we need a piece of paper to use my lecture that I'm about to give in a little bit. So you put a piece of paper underneath so that you can dump the excess glitter on here and then put it back in your container. You don't want to waste it. So this is Stuart Simple Snow. Let's see what this looks like opened. There it is. Ooh, that's pretty. All right, so he says you just shake it on like glitter. And again, I'm being excessive because I'm going to dump it back in the container. I'm actually not very good at pouring this. I'm clumping it. So the thing is, they say this will only keep 1 micron layer of glitter on it. So that is good news. No matter how much I dump out, it's only going to take so much. It's sort of... And now we're going to have glitter all over the studio because I'm playing with it. All right. There we go. Tip it up. Oops, don't stick your thumb in it. Whoops. Oh, look at that. Look at that. How pretty. I don't care. I love glitter, even though it's all over the place now. So there it is. That is using the stick and the snow. So then you take this, boop, crease it, and dump it all back in, which now I have everywhere. Well, it kind of works. So this is super, super light. It's super airy, so it is, you know, kind of airborne here. So I'm going to take one of these big brushes. I will sparkle during my lecture. And then we're going to wipe this down. I'll probably get a wet paper towel. But anyway, there is the snow. Do it a little neater than I did. So here are the projects we did for our Stuart Simple art tin that I got for Christmas. I tried it on a wood daisy. I'm going to finish this and post it on Instagram. So make sure you follow us over on Instagram at Whimsical Workshop. We did our swatch page, just kind of showing us what the blackest black looked like, the black gold, the super pink. This is the pinkest pink, the reddest red. We used the diamond dust as a sample, and then we used the stick and snow over here on our cute little daisy print, which also used all of the paints on it. And then I did these cute little happy letters. I'm going to finish these guys up. They're nowhere near done. These are going to get glued on the top of a box. So again, I will post that over on Instagram once we get it done. We have glitter everywhere, so I know we were a success with our art supplies. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me play with these art supplies. Leave me a comment below. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this or if you'd like me to just stick to fabric. I am going to try some of this on fabric. I'll probably do that in a separate video. But as always, I thank you for watching, and until next time, keep creating.